Today, I'm going to share with you how to get out of your own way and bend reality. Because when you understand the mechanics, number one, of how you work, but number two, how the quantum field works, how the universe we live in works, you become unstoppable. And that's what I want to help you do. Let's start at square one. I want you to understand how you work because we have been conditioned and programmed for eons into fear, lack, and limitation. So the first step to creating change in your life is always awareness. You have to understand how you have been showing up, who you have been being, your habitual thoughts, emotions, and actions, because that has created every current result. So that's step one. I'm going to help you understand identity shifting. And then step two, we're going to move into understanding how the universe works, Tesla's infamous quote. If you want to know the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And I'm going to break this down so you understand, number one, you are an energetic being emitting an electromagnetic field. What you put out, you get back. But I want to help you understand this so that manifesting isn't woo-woo. Manifesting is literally mechanics. And when you put this into play, you can have, be, and do anything you want in this lifetime much easier and faster than you can fathom. So let's start at square one. You have to understand how you are showing up, understanding the subconscious mind, and the good news is you can reprogram it. So let's start here. As I mentioned, the first step to creating change in your life is awareness. You have to become aware of how you've been showing up. Think of it as your current identity. And what I shared is there's only 3 things that create your identity that are creating every result in your life. And those 3 things are your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions, your habits. This is it. These 3 things, and think of it as a domino effect. Your thoughts are the first domino in reality creation. Perhaps you have heard thoughts become things, and they do. Napoleon Hill wrote an entire book, Think and Grow Rich. Thoughts are the first domino. But a lot of times when it comes to manifesting or wanting to bend reality, you're doing it the hard way. Affirmations will never get you there because it's only using your conscious mind. But you have to get into the operating system, and this is really what it comes down to. Creating real change in your life comes down to that identity shift. Thoughts are the first domino. Your emotions are then the fuel, the magnetic charge for the things you want. And you have to take actions, right? But it's about taking aligned actions. Because think about this, when you're coming from an identity, manic manifesting or trying, we come from a Western culture, right? We've been programmed and conditioned into Western culture. Hustle and grind, try harder, work harder. We put burnout like a badge of honor on this pedestal. And it's like, I'm more burnout than you are. That is coming from a very low vibe identity. And I'm not saying you can't get what you want, but you're going to do it the hard way. It's going to lead to stress and burnout. And that's not how you want to live your life. So this is where you have to begin understanding the foundational principle. What has created you, your identity, are your thoughts, emotions, and actions. So let me share with you how I came to, number one, really understand identity shifting, but how I've done it for myself. And as you go along, it's a constant evolving. That's why what I coach my clients through is creating that next level you. If you want to fast track where you are to the life you could be living, I invite you to apply for coaching. I will include a link below, and you can also visit my website, heatherhakes.com, to apply. What I coach my clients through is that next level you in 8 weeks. So that's what I want to help you do, is to fast track. But let's get to it. So how I came about this. Back in 2017, I left my 9 to 5. I wasn't happy. I wasn't fulfilled. I was going through life's motions. So let's talk about that identity, right? I'm not happy. I'm not fulfilled. I'm hitting the snooze button every morning. Life feels like a hamster wheel, like Groundhog Day, because it was. And this is about breaking that insanity loop. And if you feel stuck in any area of life, you are literally on a negative thinking feeling loop. Because look, if these don't change, If your thoughts and emotions don't change, then your actions don't change, your habits don't change, your results don't change. And let me break down what this looks like. You have somewhere between 60 to 70,000 thoughts every single day. 80% of your daily thoughts tend to be negative, and 95% of today's thoughts are on repeat from yesterday. So can you see how it is so easy to fall into default, living life in autopilot, same shit, different day, because nothing's changing, literally, internally. You are stuck thinking and feeling the same thoughts and emotions, creating your identity, driving the same behaviors, and wondering why. I've talked to some individuals been stuck for 5 and 10 years, dwelling on the past, beating themselves up, self-sabotaging, and this is where we have to start. So just remember, the first step is awareness, and that's what I want to help you do. So I would get pen to paper and literally write this out. Just start becoming aware. What are your habitual thoughts? What are your emotional states? Now, I like to think about emotions as your check engine light. Emotions are not good nor bad. They are just simply your indicator of the thoughts that you are thinking. So for example, if you habitually find yourself in low vibe emotions, like, and this is where most of my clients start, stress, fear, doubt, worry, etc. If these are your baseline emotional states, again, nothing wrong, but you've been thinking, feeling this for so long, you've created that identity of lack, in survival mode, and you can't create change or the financial freedom or the love or the success you desire from this state of being. So the first step is always about breaking the habit of being yourself and this idea of identity shifting, which I will get into. So let me talk real world me. Back in 2017, I quit my 9 to 5. I wasn't happy. I wasn't fulfilled. I desperately wanted change, and I didn't know where to start. So I just straight up quit my job. No plan, but I was like, the worst case scenario. So this is how I talked myself into change. You don't fear change. Change is the only constant, but you fear the unknown. You fear uncertainty, but I took that leap of faith. I bet on myself that there had to be a better way. And guess what? I'm living proof there is. So I took that leap of faith and went on my own self-proclaimed eat, pray, love journey, and kind of this idea of finding myself. I wasn't happy. The American dream, living in status quo, wasn't my dream. What did I want? Now, I've been into personal development and studying these principles since I was a teen. And taking this leap of faith, beginning my hero's journey, is what allowed me to become really self-aware who I had been. But then I got really clear, okay, well, what do I want? I'm not happy with where I currently am. What do I want? What do I want my life to look like? What do I want my relationship to look like? What kind of work do I want to be doing? I no longer wanted to strive and work for a paycheck. But this was a huge identity shift. So leaving the 9 to 5 world, corporate, which I had done for a decade, is one identity. Being an employee is one identity. And wherever you're at, just plug and play the same idea. But that was one idea. My thoughts, emotions, actions. I got up, I went to work, cheered on Friday, dreaded Monday, week in and week out. But I wasn't happy and fulfilled. And going from employee to entrepreneur is a huge learning curve. But I had to get really clear, who had I been? And again, what did I want my life to look like? And then how would I need to start showing up? So this is the first step in bending reality. You have to understand the identity piece. So for example, me in 2017, when I left corporate, starting my entrepreneur journey, I was full of doubt. I felt like an imposter. Who am I to teach mindset and manifesting? I was comparing myself to people who had been in the industry for years and even decades. So I was full of self-doubt. I felt like an imposter, which led to procrastination. So as you can see here, full of self-doubt, feeling like an imposter, then I felt worried and lack and what if this doesn't work out. So then I'm procrastinating. You only procrastinate. It's a coping mechanism to stay away from pain or perceived failure. But I'm here to teach you, you're going to fail, but I want to help you embrace failure, jump in, learn it fast, and fail forward. But I didn't have that mentality at the time. So here I am, full of doubt, feeling like an imposter, procrastinating. Guess what? $0 in my bank account. So I was in this perpetual cycle, thinking, feeling not enough, self-doubt, procrastinating, and well, that clearly wasn't working. So wherever you're at in your life, I want you to do this. Write down those thoughts, the emotional states, overwhelm, stress, worry, anxious, doubt, bored. Write those down, because that next level you, that next version of you that has the life you want, isn't thinking, feeling, and taking those habits. So I had to get really clear, okay, who do I want to be? And remember, I got really clear on the life I want to live. And then, okay, well, how would I have to start showing up? This is the first step in identity shifting. Getting clear. Clarity is everything. You have to have a clear aim. And most people are stuck dwelling on the past or focused on what's not working. And when you're stuck thinking about the past or what's not working, you're only going to get more of the same. So I'm helping you create forward focus. So here's what I had to come up with. I had to be confident. I had to be consistent. I had to create clarity. And the big thing for me is I came up with my why. This wasn't about me, and that's what imposter syndrome can feel like. Stop making it about you. I came up with my strong why, and my why was if I could help one person, because I knew how bad it felt to be stuck going through life's motions that Groundhog Day. I knew how bad it felt, and that was the ignition that created change in my life, clarity. So this is what I got really clear on, and that's when I started being really consistent in content creation. I now have more than 700 podcast episodes. I've been coaching clients for years, doing what I love, continually growing and evolving, continually creating the next level of me. So now that you understand the idea of identity shifting, getting really clear on who you've been, but more importantly on who you want to be, and you're going to realize there's a gap. There's a gap on where you are and that next level you. And this is exactly what I help my clients do to close this gap. So remember, this is step number one when it comes to bending reality, consciously creating what you want in this life. So let's get into now the energetics of the universe. Now that you understand identity is everything, and you have to step into that next level of you. Now I want you to understand the second piece in reality creation, which is the idea of the quantum field. How do we connect with the potentials that already exist so we can have tangible experiences? So you can have the money in your bank account, the lover in your bed, the success, and whatever it is you desire, the home, the experience, the travel. I want to help you do that and manifest faster. So now let's talk about the idea of the quantum field. And this is what I love about the idea of reality creation. It is not woo-woo. This is tangible data. You can find the evidence. You can plug and play. This is a formula. And if you're not using this, well, then you're just playing the game of life the hard way. I don't want you doing that. So let's get into the idea of the quantum field. Here's how I think about it. So remember, this is you. This is that next level you. This is that new identity. And how do you connect with the quantum field? How do you start playing with energy, frequency, and vibration so that you can have tangible experiences in your life? First, I want to touch on the idea of entanglement. And perhaps you have heard this before. In physics, entanglement talks about two separate particles that are deeply connected, but could have major distance, like thousands of miles apart. They could be on opposite sides of the world, but when something happens to one, it directly and immediately impacts the other. That's the idea of entanglement. We are not separate. You are not separate from your desires. You are entangled with them. Here's what I mean by that. When we're talking about entanglement, when it comes to bending reality, all possible versions of you already exist. Your desires are not coming out of thin air. I want you to think of them like this. Your desires to be healthier, to have that loving relationship, to be that successful version of you, whatever it is that you want, think about those wants as impulses and nudges from another version of you, a parallel version of you that is like sending you this signal, the bright idea, the desire, wanting you to become the version of you so you can experience it. So here's a big thing that we trip up on here in 3D. Time is not linear. That's why, like, get rid of your 5-year goal. Get rid of your 10-year goal. Things can happen quickly and easily when you understand how to bend reality, which you're going to know by the end of this video. Time is not linear. We've created a time as a construct in this 3D so we can schedule and have birthdays and seasons and holidays, but literally time is not linear. So remember, what I just tapped on is the idea of there are parallel versions of you. Infinite versions of you, in fact. And so this right here, this is the quantum field. And here's how I interpret the quantum field. The idea of an Excel spreadsheet. An Excel spreadsheet goes on for infinity. And how do you connect any point on an Excel spreadsheet? You need the X and Y axis where they intersect, okay? I'm going to explain to you how you can intersect and connect with the potential in the quantum field to experience in your reality. So here's the quantum field. Here's the money you want and the lover and the opportunity and the travel, the home, the experience, fill in the blank, whatever you want. They're all points in the quantum field. And remember what I talked about in identity shifting, your thoughts and your emotions. Thoughts are the first domino, but your thoughts and emotions then drive your behaviors. Well, when it comes to the quantum field, your thoughts are the electrical charge. So when you have a clear intention, your thought is sending an electrical charge out to the quantum field. Now you have an electromagnetic field. So when it comes to wanting to manifest, it's about a resonance game. You have to resonate with the frequency of your desire. So remember, thoughts are the electrical charge, but your feelings are the magnetic force bringing it back to you. So think about it like this. Your thoughts are electrical, great. You have to at least know what you want. But it's your emotions that add fuel to the fire. So when you're thinking and feeling in tandem, when you're thinking and feeling, now science calls this brain and heart coherence. When you have your thoughts and emotions in alignment, you have coherence, meaning you have alignment, conscious and subconscious mind. And you are sending out a clear signal to the quantum field because you are in coherence, you are in alignment. And when you can maintain and sustain this state of being, which I'm actually gonna bring in one of my teaching frameworks, Embody. So I'll bring that in a moment. Your job is never the how, but in order to bend reality, and I'm telling you, you can collapse time when you put this into play. You have to maintain and sustain this thinking and feeling. Neville Goddard taught this, living from the end. So you don't think of your desire. You don't hope and wish and someday or one day. You have to live now because remember, time is not linear. There's only ever the present moment. And when you have that coherence and you have that alignment, you have a very strong signal, and that's why you can collapse time and things can happen quickly. So let me bring in my teaching framework, Embody, to kind of bring this full circle. So this is something I teach my coaching clients, the Embody method, because that's what it truly comes down to. Now this took me years. and thousands of hours to, like, I intellectually could understand this. So you might intellectually understand the idea of identity shifting or manifesting or changing habits. But if you're not implementing and integrating and applying that knowledge, nothing in your life will change. In personal development, there's this big neon sign, knowledge is power. No, it's not. Knowledge alone is not power. It comes down to embodiment. So when I truly understood this, I created this framework. We're gonna run out of space? Yes, we are. We'll move it. When I created this framework, it brought all these pieces together. It brought identity shifting together, it brought in the quantum field, and now I can bend reality nearly at will because I understand this, but more importantly, I'm doing the inner work. I'm putting this to play. I put in my daily reps. So now let's talk about the idea of embody. So when it comes to bending reality, here are the two pieces, you and the quantum field. So this is step one, the identity. It's your state of being. Who are you being? That's why Wayne Dyer said this. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And in fact, anytime you're wanting something, you're creating separation. When you want, the energetic frequency, the vibration you're putting out is I don't have. That's why you have to embody the feeling, the emotions of having it now. And when you can maintain and sustain, that's how you collapse time, connect with yourself on that parallel reality. And this is the game of life. If you have questions, if you need me to expand on any of this, please drop them in the comments below. All right. So let me bring in my embody method, because this is literally, this ties it all together. And I simplify it. I simplify this as best that I can. But it's energy first. So the E stands for energy first, which is really about your state of being. You have to be intentional with your thoughts and emotions, creating that brain and heart coherence, creating that energetic signal of already having. So energy first. M is about matching the frequency, because remember, you have an electromagnetic field. I like to think of life as a boomerang. What you put out, you get back. So when you're thinking, feeling, when you're maintaining and sustaining, when you're walking about your day, you're thinking that you already have it. You're feeling so grateful and empowered and abundant, and you maintain this, watch out. So match the frequency, and that's what it really is here. When you match the frequency of your desire, that's how you collapse time. The how and the when, never your job, because you would come from a very limited perspective. Next, belief beyond logic. Now this is where most people wobble. You might get clear, you might have a great morning meditation, but then something happens and your energy gets knocked off. Maybe you get cut off in traffic or a snarky email or whatever, which then creates doubt. So now you're no longer having coherence, you're incoherent, you're full of doubt, worry, you're thinking about the past, and that's what keeps you separate from having your desires. Belief beyond logic. So how do you do this? You have to create certainty. You have to become the evidence, because when you are looking for evidence, again, you're creating separation. Life is a mirror. Life is only a reflection of your internal state of being. This is a Hermetic principle correspondence. As within, so without. When you understand that you are the determining factor, and it's your internal thoughts, emotions, and state of being that sends out the frequencies, you are the evidence. You have to create belief beyond logic. You have to have so much certainty that it is inevitable, that it is already yours, and that's how you maintain a very strong signal. Certainty, belief beyond logic, and that's how you override doubt or looking for evidence. Next one, really important, and then I'm gonna stop here. I don't want to overwhelm you. O is all about owning the identity. So remember in 2017 when I, full of self-doubt, feeling like an imposter and procrastinating, got really clear on who I wanted to be, because I had my strong why. I I wanted to be confident, and I knew I had to be consistent, and I had the clarity, and then I'm starting to take steps. I had to own the identity of a successful entrepreneur, creating impact and having income before I ever had it in my bank account or before I ever had clients. And when you match the frequency, when you own the identity, when you show up as that version of you, and this is where some people create that alter ego, like to snap into it, to play the part, to play that avatar, you literally become unstoppable. These are the principles of bending reality. It's the identity piece, you, number one. And then understanding how you connect with the potentials in the quantum field to create those tangible experiences so that you can have, be, and do experience anything you want in this lifetime. I want you to put this into play, and again, let me know what questions you have. So let me bring this full circle. In every single moment, you're either living your life by default, in autopilot, in that old identity, thinking, feeling loop. Nothing's changing. You're in that insanity loop. Or you're living life by design, being a conscious creator of your reality, owning the identity, being mindful and intentional with your thoughts and emotions, which then drive aligned actions, creating wanted results in your life. You have the power to choose. Thanks for tuning in to today's video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so you're the first to know when new videos drop. And give me a thumbs up. I'll catch you on the next one.